Hi, everybody. It's live. Welcome to Moohead Radio. And joining me is the ever lovely, not dead Joni. Hi.
Hi.
No, wait. Now, how come you didn't come up again? You see, we have to figure out why this thing sometimes goes back and forth. Try again. Say hi.
Hi.
No, you're just like a little.
Oh, it doesn't like me now.
Well, it was just working a minute ago.
Fine. It's all Wiley's fault.
I know. Let me see. Control room. I don't know what's going on here.
It's because I talked about that dirty thing I just said, and it
yeah, all we're getting is your voice. We're not getting your picture. So whatever. I'm just cranking this up. And there, okay, we're on the air, but you're not. So, but you can be heard. So, and a special hello to Ann Elk, a new viewer of the program. I'm not.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Yeah. Don't go bashing our president, Moo. Don't know that. Oh no, that's a spell check. He meant to say, "Don't go bashing." It was your president. Okay. Welcome to Moohead Radio, and this is 13 years that I've done this goddamn program. And there's a really big announcement that I wanted to kick off the air with because it's essential for people to understand that, as time goes on, there you are. I can do it manually. Kind of like Chatterbait. Okay. So I don't know why it's only letting me do this manually, but I'll leave it on Joni for a while. Here's the deal. 13 years of this, and I've been doing very sporadic podcasts during, after the Cavaliers lost, and the Indians have never been something that has particularly motivated me in any meaningful way.
Tell me about it.
And
we could just talk about them for anything.
And then you've got all this Cavaliers news, the Kyrie Irving thing that I got sick of reading about. And now you got Hugh Jackson or Hugh Blackson or whatever his name is. And so all these things are intersecting. And so I felt like I should go on live, maybe one last time, before the whole thing just kind of comes to a big collapsing heap of rubble. The announcement that I want to make is that there will be Browns halftime and post-game shows, and you're not going to get rid of me that quickly. It's if life were only so fucking simple, folks. I'm a gadfly, and as far as now, I can put the camera back myself. So I was laughing as I was saying that. As far as your president, Wiley Fox, he can suck my dick. Okay, that pretty much gets to the heart of that matter. Today's program, we will be discussing the selection of Deshaun Kaiser and to discuss maybe the pros and the cons of that. Now the newly released news that Iman Shumpert wants to be traded too, which I was all for during the course of the season, but the Cavs tried. They tried, and they couldn't find a buyer for him. And we'll also be discussing the Indians, why they don't hit for 3 games, and then they hit for 1, and they score enough runs for 3 games worth, but it still doesn't really fucking matter because they still go the next 3 games without hitting, why that might be happening. There's a lot to talk about, but I'll start out with the newest member of the Moohead Radio program, and he is somebody who I admire tremendously. Is Al Pawlowski, and we'll bring Al out here. Hi there, Joni. It's me, Al Pawlowski, in the studio.
Hey, Al, you're in the studio? That's so weird. What are you doing in the studio?
Why do you rub salt in the wound? I can't get out of this damn studio. If I have to look at Jensen Lewis one more time, I'm going to go gay. And I don't want to go gay.
Did you know that I once tried to wrap my hands around one of Jensen's biceps and my fingers did not touch? True story.
I tried too. I couldn't get my hand around his dick either. You know, I've got a central problem here. I can't get into Indian Stadium. They won't let me into the progressive field because it's always, let's go to Al in the studio. Let's go to Al in the studio. And it's like, Matt Underwood is the worst announcer I've ever heard in my life, and I can't get on that field. Andre Knott gets on the field, for God's sakes. I mean, the Robert E. Lee statue they want to take down, Andre Knott gets on the damn field. I can't get on the field. It's Al Pulowski. I don't mean to sound bitter, but damn it, I'm bitter about this.
I heard a rumor that you don't wear pants. Could that be a contributing factor?
I don't wear any pants, and I'm sitting behind the damn desk all the time. Nobody gives a shit. I get so tired of this, and then they throw me a bone in the 8th or 9th inning. They go back to the studio with Al and Jensen, and it's Al and Jensen like we're a team. I've been here for 37 years, it feels like. Where in the fuck was Jensen Lewis? He was sleeping in the bullpen for a couple of years in Cleveland, and he merits as much respect as me. It's not fair.
Well, at least you're not bitter. At least you have a good head.
You know something? Matt Underwood, if he makes Yandy Diaz look like a Gold Glover, he makes Alamonte look like a Gold Glover. I've never seen more errors in the booth in my life.
He makes Stevie Wonder look like he's got 20/20 vision. His depth perception is so bad.
If I see one more pop out to the second baseman that he says going to the track, I'm going to scream. Well, you get the idea. Al Pulowski, he'll be joining us during the course of all the discussions.
But only from the studio. He's not actually allowed to join.
No, he's a remote broadcaster, strictly a remote broadcaster. That's it. I wish I could get the cameraman function to work. Cameraman, tell them the truth. We'll still end up knocking the boots. Okay. That's just like a 90s remnant from way back in my radio past. And I like it. And I really wish it. Yeah. Let's see here. Hide from broadcast, present to everyone. Maybe that's how we do this. Present to everyone. Now try talking.
I'm afraid to.
No? It still isn't working. God damn it.
It's because I'm not pretty enough for ESPN, and I'm not pretty enough for Google Hangouts.
Hide participants? I don't know what the fuck. They've changed this interface on me, so man, we'll leave it on you.
When we were off the air. That's bizarre.
Fucking blows. All right, let's talk first about Hugh Jackson. I mean, I was going to do a podcast about this whole quarterback thing, but I thought for sure he was going to name Brock Osweiler. Okay. But this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, because I'll give you the rationalization, because here's what I was going to say. If he started Brock Osweiler, I was going to say, well, it just damn well figures he's going to protect Deshaun Kaiser in a way that he wasn't willing to protect Cody Kessler. I mean, he put Kessler on the field with a bunch of phantom linemen and let him get killed, let him have multiple concussions and all that. And I figured they're going to let Osweiler out there and get his head ripped off and get him killed, right? And that he's going to protect his guy. But so it didn't work out that way. He ends up naming Kaiser as his starting quarterback. But now I can turn around and say, see, he always ends up with the black guy, So there is no winning here, because starting Kaiser is a real, potentially grave error, in my opinion. He's not ready. I mean, this is a guy who's never faced a full-speed professional football game. How many years do we it's like, who would say, it's like Groundhog Day, goddammit. It's the same thing over and over. It's like, he's not ready. I remember the one year. Do you remember when the one quarterback had one game? He played one game and he was benched after that. And I think it was a loss to Pittsburgh. And how's that for history repeating itself? It's like, we end up throwing these people into the fray, and people forget. It's not like Aaron Rodgers unseated Brett Favre. It isn't like that. He didn't unseat him. Brett Favre got old and he became decrepit. And after sitting with a clipboard for 5 years, sitting in the studio with Al Pawlowski for 5 years, they let him play. I mean, I don't know anybody except for Ben Roethlisberger who really came out. Well, he came out as gay. I mean, for the one thing. No, I'm sorry. That was Cordell Stewart. Again,
that was Switch or slash. That's what it was.
My memory is just fading. It's a horrible thing. But he can't. But when he came out of Miami of Ohio, he had a real, honest to God, offensive line.
What he wants, when he wants something, he goes after it and he gets it, regardless of how he has to do so. I mean, that's just who he is.
I don't understand what this means. You are presenting to everyone. That makes me sound like I'm showing my dick. I hate that. Hate that. Yeah, I'm not doing right.
Are you switching it right now?
You're on the air. I can't get. I can switch back and forth manually, but usually it's voice activated. Yeah. And it was when we were off the air, but then as soon as we went on the air, it stopped doing it again. So I don't know. We'll see. So I don't know what to say. It's like, not only has he never played a football game at full speed in the NFL, but now he has offensive linemen who've never played together. I mean, he's got Joe Thomas, who hasn't played at all this preseason.
He doesn't. Okay, they're protecting him in a plastic bubble.
He's got Sean Coleman, who has not played, as far as I can see, ever since he got here. Then we have the guys who are not meshed yet. You have Treader and you have Zeitler, and these are, and then Bitonio. Nobody knows, he's week to week to week, so nobody knows. And do you know how long it takes for an offensive line to gel?
Years.
But in reality, if there's a lot of good pros, let's say that it would take 8 games for them to get better. I mean, in the scheme of things, the kid's 21 years old. What are you in a hurry for? What's the big rush? I don't understand. He could wait 8 games. We're going to lose the first 4 games. I mean, did you see who we're playing?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to lose. We're going to be 0-4 by the time we blink. And when that happens, people are going to be calling for, maybe we should give that big stork Osweiler a chance. So it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, instead of just having the controversy of the quarterback every week, wondering who's going to play quarterback, you've got an offensive line that's not only is it not cohesive, but it's not consistent. It's different all the time. I mean, last year, how many different lineups did they have trying to protect somebody? And there was no continuity. You can't come together properly when you have no idea what you're doing week in and week out. It was sad.
I wish the Browns were more Catholic in their approach. Temptation. The Catholics are really big on the temptation thing. I mean, it isn't about blowing a donkey. It's about thinking about blowing a donkey, and
and then feeling immediately guilty about feeling that way, and then going to confess and ask for forgiveness.
Right. I mean, but the whole idea is, when you're Catholic, I mean, you don't want to succumb to the temptation, and that's why I'm so happy that Cam Irving's hurt. No. I mean, you can't succumb to the temptation of thinking that this guy could actually play football. So there are some injuries that are better than others, but we are succumbing to the rookie quarterback thing. And I got to be honest with you. He's played a lot better than Osweiler, and I think Osweiler's terrible. Just terrible.
Yeah. He is. The numbers don't lie. And that's preseason. It's too easy. I had a screenshot that they were in first place just because I like to enjoy it when it's there, even though it doesn't count or matter.
I just...
Don't tell me what comment.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's played better, and that's to the detriment of a 21-year-old kid, because he's going to get out there against the Steelers, and the Steelers are going to just cut loose, man. I mean, it's going to be like, you know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like Deshaun Kaiser. It's like, okay, week 1, you're going to Texas. there's a hurricane called Harvey, and don't worry, it's not going to be that bad. Only about as bad as Katrina, and that's, this kind of thing can kill a young guy's career. They're going to tee off on him, man. I mean, they're going to run stunts and blitzes and, and if they think that they're going to be able to run the ball with Isaiah Crowell, it's like the Steelers are going to say, okay, fine. We're going to put 7 men in the box. We're going to blitz. We're going to do everything we need to do. We're going to shut down that running game. And let's see if this kid can do anything. And, all it takes is Sean Coleman to sit there picking his nose for a split second, and Kaiser sacked. That's what's been happening year after year. So I don't know. I'm happy in one respect that it's not Osweiler.
For
because
now. After tomorrow's game. Hugh goes by how he's feeling on the week and what he's
my feeling about Osweiler is, and this is weird, if Osweiler were Hillary Clinton, the day after the election, Osweiler would say, I thought it was great. I thought we ran a great campaign. I think that's probably the best campaign I've run in my life. And I think everything was great. Don't you? I mean, Osweiler.
57-0.
A 50 quarterback rating in the preseason. Hey, I'm off to a great start. It's like, oh my God, the guy is like delusional. And that was the same thing in Houston. It was the same thing. And it's like, you obviously can't rain on his fucking ass. If there's nothing you can do. The sun's always shining on Brock, it's like,
I don't think he remembers where he is, because he's going to get eaten alive very quickly if he doesn't come to terms with the fact that he's not good.
Well, and then worse is Cody Kessler. I mean,
cute though. Oh, he's cute. He looks like a little baby Dustin Fox.
Well, I'll tell you something about Cody Kessler. The whole Hugh Jackson. Trust me on this one. It's like, I mean, was he holding his nose when he said that? I mean, did I hear things? I mean, it is clear to me that Hugh Jackson simply did not want Cody Kessler. Somebody else in the organization, probably the same person who wanted Johnny Manziel. Okay, let's throw a dart blindfolded, pin the tail on the donkey, and it comes up Cody Kessler, and it's like Cody Kessler was like a 7th round pick, or a non-drafted, a UDFA, according to every board in the league, except for the Browns, who drafted him high. So I think, obviously, Hugh was just waiting, It's like he starts out the preseason saying, he's our guy. What did Kessler do that was so bad that got him demoted to 3rd string?
Say it. I know you want to say it. Go ahead.
No, because Osweiler is too. No. I mean, what? How did he? I get the Deshaun Kaiser thing. I'm not going to even get into it. But Osweiler, how did he fall behind a guy who gets paid $16 million and was the object of trade discussions early on? How does Cody Kessler, the only guy in camp who knows the offense, who's run the offense, who's run the plays, how does he wind up 3rd string behind Osweiler so quickly?
Didn't he set passing yards records last year? I mean, even though they were terrible, wasn't bad. He set some kind of numbers for the team.
He only threw 2 interceptions. He's accurate. He just can't throw the ball long. And I get that. They accused him of holding onto the ball too long, which was a joke because the offensive line in front of him, anybody would have gotten killed. RG3 got killed. It doesn't matter how much experience you have when you have nobody in front of you blocking. It just doesn't matter, what happens there. So I'm a little bit confused. And the only thing I can think of is Hugh Jackson just didn't want him from the get-go and threw him out there. And by throwing him out there with a bunch of bozos in the first preseason game, they just demoted him right off the bat. I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Kessler gets cut and that Kevin Hogan becomes the third string quarterback. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, there is some hate case, and I think Hugh is a real stubborn guy. I think that you're either his guy or you're not his guy.
Maybe they're saving him for when the other two get murdered in the first 4 weeks.
That's what Kevin Hogan's for.
Oh, God, is he still around?
Yeah, he is. And he hasn't been cut yet. And that tells me it's going to it's going to be the big surprise ending that it's going to be Cody Kessler who gets cut. And, you know, and I'll do an impression for you of DeShone Kaiser when he first snapped. 97-46. Brunswick. You got to name out some kind of a suburb of Cleveland, okay? In order to
you would go for the rich areas.
Omaha. Do you know that Eli Manning in the game that I was watching yelled out, Binghamton, and that's like, yeah, it's like I lived there. Yeah, so now that's the new thing. It's like, Brunswick, Wycliffe, Ted, Hut.
Oh, God.
He's not that fast.
That's way too many syllables in some of our cities.
If DeShone Kaiser was in Africa, he'd be running, and you know what he'd be screaming?
No.
Tiger! Yeah, that's what he's going to feel like, man, when the Steelers are coming after him, because they come after you with bad fucking intentions. They're going to try to hurt him.
Who said that they were going to murder Ben Roethlisberger week 1?
Oh, Myles Garrett said that he didn't say he was going to murder him. He said that he couldn't wait to sack him.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't wait to sack him. Yep. And what I've seen of Myles Garrett in the preseason, he's not going to be even in the same zip code as Ben Roethlisberger. But, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's young and he's got a lot to learn. I mean, it's like David Njoku. I mean, Njoku. I got to get his name right. Njoku. He had one opportunity to catch a pass, and unfortunately, Kaiser overthrew him, and he did get off the line of scrimmage and beat a guy in man coverage. But he hasn't played very much because he's been injured on and off the field. I know that Isaiah Crowell, he showed up with a groin injury, and that was that. There are some guys on the Browns who never seem healthy. I mean, and it's not a racial thing. I want to make this clear. I mean, Joe Hayden is Jason Kipnis is Joe Hayden. I mean,
he's the worst.
I mean, if you look funny at him, he goes down in a heap. I mean, that's just kind of the way it works.
But he will never miss a Cavs game.
No. My groin! Yeah, what about your groin? At any rate, so I'm not, tomorrow we get the Browns playing in a meaningful game in a dress rehearsal, and we'll see how many penalties they accrue and whether they can keep their poise. And it's going to be an acid test. And if Kaiser comes out and doesn't play well, then, he can still default back to Osweiler. And my original premise will be correct. That is like, got to protect him. It's like, and Cody Kessler will be like, how come you didn't protect me? And Al Pawlowski will be, how come I can't get out of the studio? On and on it goes. Everyone's going to be complaining.
What else is new? People look forward to football season because they're allowed to complain and bitch and be miserable about something, and yet they're gluttons for it every single weekend. It's an excuse to be angry about something else. And
Max wins 3 for the Browns this year. 3-13 is the best we could be hoping for. Team's not good. I'll say this.
I thought that was crazy. How do you go from winning 1 game to winning even 3 or 4?
Well, I mean, your defense. I mean, the only thing you can hope for is that the defense gets turnovers. I mean, the one thing that I did like to see is at the end of the last game, on the last play, they ran a blitz. At least they're trying to win preseason games. Not that that means anything, but at least they're playing at higher speed. They look like they're moving and flying to the ball. So, the hope is that if you can get a few turnovers and you don't turn the ball over, you might be able to squeak by in a couple of games. That's kind of, the hope. In the past, we had no defense whatsoever. And, Horton hurt a who. I never want to see Ray Horton ever again in my life. Ever again. Because at least Greg...
I think of the word pussification because he just softened the shit out of that defense.
And I can't believe OBJ, everyone's getting pissed off, because Body Calhoun, completely legal hit. And you know what somebody on the Giants said? They said, could have hit him high. If you'd have hit him high, then they said you were headhunting. I mean,
that's the thing that they're telling you not to do for the last 5 years. And all of a sudden he goes low, he trips, and boom. I mean, and you know what? He was standing just damn fine until they saw the cameras on him in the hallway. He's a pussy. He's a bitch. And so is Shannon Sharp for running his mouth about the Browns being dirty. Fuck them.
Are you? I don't even know if your audio is working.
What? Since when?
Can everybody in the chat room, can you hear Michelle? I just want to make sure that, because this studio looks different to me and I hear her fine. Please, Wiley, if you can let me know, do you hear Michelle? Okay, we can hear her fine. Good. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't just chatterbaiting. And I'm hoping that your friend Ryan Mourton is listening, and we'll get to the eating ass part of the program later in the show there, Ryan. So you just hang in there, real buddy. So 3 wins. That's as good as, in my mind, it's going to get, but at least it might be entertaining seeing the guys fly around and hit somebody. And Body Calhoun did exactly what he was supposed to do. And because he's OBJ, you're not allowed to hit him. You're not allowed to hit him low. You're not allowed to hit him high. You have to make a phantom tackle and whatever. But fuck that. This is Greg Williams now. This is fucking Greg Williams. And this is bounty hunter time.
I like it. It reminds me of the 80s when football was fun and people got angry and they murdered each other on the field.
Before all this encephalopathy bullshit ruined the game, let's just go back to the dark ages and play in blissful ignorance.
Leather helmets and no pads and just fucking kill each other on the field. Hell yeah, that's what I want. That's my football.
Yeah, I mean, it's... let me see here. I want to try something here. I'm still trying to get something to work, but it's not working. So fuck it. At any rate, the offense is bad. Is bad.
How bad is it?
Oh God, it's so bad I wouldn't want to be in a studio with it.
You don't have a choice.
Fucking Al Pawlowski. It's but that's my take on the Browns and Deshaun Kaiser. It's all well and good. He deserves to start. Don't get me wrong, but whether it's really the smart thing to do, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
You know what? I swore I wasn't gonna watch games this year, and I swore I wasn't gonna get into it. And then I was like, "Oh, Beth Mounds is calling games. Hell no, I'm not gonna watch anything." These fuckers always pull me back in. And then watching my mother get mad about them kneeling before the game and getting all offended, it just made me want to watch them more. I was like, God damn, I can't stay away. I can't stay away.
I actually had one guy, a former, viewer of the program, and his family was a viewing family. And
oh God, what kind of family is that?
Well, I mean, he comes out and he says, because 11 Browns kneeled before the last game, he's not a Browns fan anymore. He's now a Patriots fan because he's a man of character, and it's all the self-righteous bullshit that you hear. And, it's like, I want to at least put my 2 cents worth in on this. Believe me, the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, ownership group, and the other 42 men on the roster don't share the feelings of 11 men. And if you feel that 11 men kneeling is enough of a reason to not support your team, then you weren't much of a fan to begin with. And if I hear from one more person that they're disrespectful to the flag, I mean, I wish these people would. The flag is what we fought for, the freedom to be able to peacefully protest. And I say that with Charlottesville in mind, peacefully protest. There's nothing against that in our law or constitution. You may disagree. It may offend you. And if you decide that 11 men out of 53 men, and really it's 70 men because we haven't started the cut process yet, that 11 out of 70 men offends you to the degree that you're no longer going to support your team, if that's what you believe, then okay, I think you're being harsh, but don't be thinking that Jimmy Haslam agrees with the 11 guys who are kneeling, please.
I think he even gives a shit. He's not paying attention. He's totally wasted up in his booth, looking at his phone, trying to avoid another lawsuit, trying to pay people off. He doesn't give a shit what's happening on that field. He doesn't give a shit what's happening on that field during the 4 quarters that they're playing. He doesn't care. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's a very peculiar political climate in the country. I don't even want to touch on it.
Did you see? I noticed just before we went on the air, I saw on Twitter that Seth DeValve's wife, who is a black woman, said, "Don't make my husband out to be a white savior. It's not about him. It's about let's pay attention to the original cause."
Can't you believe anything anymore? I mean, if you believe something that people are against, and it's both sides, they're just going to condemn you automatically. So we're going to wash our hands. I mean, and you know what the amazing thing is? It took 11 men kneeling for John Brown, I'll name him by name, John Brown, to stop being a Browns fan. Yet John Brown was a Browns fan through a 1-in-15 season. John Brown has been a Browns fan since I started doing the show. John Brown has seen some of the worst Tim Couch football, some of the worst football that I've ever seen, that you've ever seen, and he remained a fan. And it took 11 kneeling men in 2017 to get him to stop being a fan. We've come a long fucking way, haven't we? Jeez.
I'll tell you what, all of the conversations that the protests and the anthem protests and just the kneeling, just taking a stand just to try and induce more conversation about the racial and social injustices that people of color and different ethnicities are facing in our country and in the world today. The conversations that it has invoked have brought out some really nasty true colors of some people that I never in a million years would have imagined felt the way they feel. Because, a lot of people, when you're arguing about things about politics, and if they don't agree with you, well, you're a racist. It's very easy to throw that word around when someone doesn't agree with your beliefs. But to see someone take a stand against something that, 40 years ago, where were you in the 70s? Were you the ones taking the stand then? Were you the ones standing up for social and political and racial injustice? And now all of a sudden you're angry because people are doing the same thing? It blows my mind. And I think people have lost a lot of what they used to believe in. And it's showing a lot of true colors that are very ugly. And if anything, it's opening eyes to who people truly are.
You know that I am not happy when athletes try to make these statements on a playing field. I mean, when they're on TV so that people can see them, I think it's showboating in a way. I think you live your beliefs, or, but this marketing of beliefs, it creates a problem for me, because I watch football to watch football, to see how the Browns do so I can talk sensibly about it after the game and at the halftime and the post game. But I don't like the game being disrupted by people interjecting something that is really not germane to playing the game. I think that in my mind, is not what I tuned in for. Okay. I mean, so it isn't that I support a person's freedom to kneel if they want to kneel or do whatever they're going to do, but there's a time for it. It's called the off season. There's a time to let your conscience, you speak, you don't do something just in front of a camera. And it's just like what's happened with Isaiah Thomas. I don't know if you caught this, but there's two Isaiah Thomases. There's old Isaiah Thomas, and then there's young Isaiah Thomas. They're not related. So, Isaiah Thomas, old Isaiah Thomas, if you remember, was a Detroit Piston, and he was at UCF, and he got fired because he's a douchebag. I mean, the guy, he is one of the most, I don't know. He was inept as an athletic director in college. He was a disaster. And he struck up a close relationship with young Isaiah Thomas. And he comes out today and he says, it's going to be hard for Isaiah Thomas, not himself, but young Isaiah Thomas, to be able to give his heart to any team that he plays for after the way the Celtics dealt him. And, that it was real, that it's hurt him. And it's the Cavaliers are going to really have to go out of their way to try to win him over. And, it is like, fuck you. X millions of dollars wins you over. And, I get tired of this portrayal of athletes as saints. And I know Isaiah Thomas is going to be a Cleveland Cavalier, but I don't forget the truth of what he said and what he did. In the playoffs, at the most critical time of the year, he, out of the clear blue sky, brought up his free agency status and said, quote, the Boston Celtics are going to have to drive a Brinks truck up to my house to re-sign me. That's when he was a member of the team in the playoffs. He couldn't even keep his fucking mouth shut long enough to lose in the goddamn playoffs. Now, so he gets traded, and now, the Celtics are the bad guys, and now we have to treat him with kid gloves. Look, we knew from the get-go, Isaiah Thomas is all about the money. He's a whore, okay? He's all about the money. He's already told us that when he was in the playoffs with the Celtics. He's not going to stay with the Cavaliers. He's going to go to the highest bidder because he doesn't give a shit. He can't win something by himself. His body couldn't hold up being the man for a full season in Boston with a 28.9 scoring average because he's, 4'6". I mean, let's be honest about it. By the time the playoffs came around, it happened to Kyle Lowry too. Small guards, and it happened to Kyrie Irving in the years past. Small guards, and he's a really small guard, who like to penetrate and go to the rim, their bodies get treated like pinballs, and they don't retain their resilience through the postseason.
I don't know. He was a pretty annoying little factor during that series against Boston, and you know what? The heart he had when he went out there just day after, 2 days after, whatever it was, after his sister was killed, died. I think she was in a car crash, right? And he went out there and pulled it out and played for his team. I don't know. He's being reviewed by the doctors because he has a hip labral tear, and he opted out of surgery. Yeah,
opted out of surgery. Now, look.
And we talked about how hip tears are just, you're not going to be able to live through that. It needs to heal. It needs to be either. But I don't know. I'm going to give the guy a chance. Jay Crowder's the one I'm like, not so much a fan. But I mean,
the Cleveland Clinic is going to look at Isaiah Thomas, and if they look at Isaiah Thomas and discover that really the best thing to do is surgery, he ain't going to play.
Right.
I don't understand how you conclude a deal when a guy is injured and you haven't looked at him yet. I don't understand how this works exactly. Is there a right of refusal if it turns out that they look at his radiology and he's damaged goods and he refuses to go in for surgery? I mean, do you know what kind of an impact that would have on his free agency status if he were damaged and it became known that he was damaged and his worth would go down the shitter? I don't understand how this works exactly, but it doesn't sound good to me. And I don't know everything about medicine. I know that when I had torn cartilage in my knee, I had to fix it. And when I didn't fix it because of a dispute with an insurance company, arthritis set in so fast it wasn't funny. You don't want all that friction inside of a joint with bone rubbing on bone. You don't want that. If he thinks he's going to be able to rehab it, fine. But, as far as Jay Crowder is concerned, he was bitch slapped, I mean, he's going to have to stare at J.R. Smith, and he's going to have to,
It's going to be wild. I mean, you can't just look at somebody and go, oh, we're teammates now? Okay, we're cool. I don't care how mature you are. It doesn't happen that way. You're going to have to.
But, well, who wants Shumpert now? I mean, the problem with Shumpert, in my mind, is that he doesn't want to be what he is. And that is the biggest problem with Iman Shumpert. He wants to be a take-you-off-the-dribble shooter. And he's a defensive player. And when he doesn't play defense, his value goes down the shitter. And when he tries to handle the ball in the open court, he turns the ball over. And it's not good. And if he's unhappy in Cleveland, he was unhappy in New York. I think Iman Shumpert is unhappy everywhere he goes. And you can't give him away. But he's still a member of the team. What I want to point out about the Cavaliers is this. Last year, all right, Kyrie Irving and J.R. Smith and LeBron James, Tristan Thompson in the middle, and K-Love at the power forward. All right, that was your starting five. Your next group coming off the bench was Darren Williams. He was your backup point guard. And then you had Kyle Korver. He was your backup guy. You had Richard Jefferson. He was one of the guys off the bench quite a bit during the course of the season. Iman Shumpert. All right. So those were the four bench guys that really got time. Okay. So keep those players in mind. And now look at the Cavaliers for this coming season. You have Isaiah Thomas, assuming he's healthy. You've got LeBron James still at the 3. You've got J.R. Smith still at the 2. You got Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. So it's just a one-for-one swap of Kyrie and IT. Fine. But off the bench, you've got Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose got more in the tank than Darren Williams, because Darren Williams, he was so fucking slow.
How did that go again?
He belonged in a Heinz bottle. He was so slow. I mean, so you had him as your backup point guard. Then you had Iman Shumpert still, which you still have. Now you still have Kyle Korver. Oh, there's Tony the Calf.
Oh, great.
He's breathing.
Let me tell you something, Mark. Ante Zizic is the next Alvidas fucking Sabonis.
Ante Zizic! He brings up a good point. We'll talk about this.
Croatian guy. I like it.
Yeah. Well, here. So you got Shumpert still, but you also now.
He's on the screen.
He's not.
It works now. He is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. When
he shouldn't be. You're supposed to be. Now I am.
Well, I just saw him.
well, no, you see him.
It's just because I'm attractive.
Boy, that's a reach. Actually, a reach around, Tony.
Everybody.
Hey, there's no such thing as a reach around with me. Look at the size of me, for God's sake.
Jeff Green and Jay Crowder. Okay, Jeff Green and Jay Crowder can play defense. All right, and
dick, by the way, you're blocking and unblocking me. You're such a pussy on Twitter. I swear to God.
Oh, stop with the. I'm trying to make points about this.
Sorry, but he's a pussy.
We're stronger on the second unit right now than we were last year. That's a fact. I would rather have the guys we have coming up this season than having to play Richard Jefferson for one more season and having to rely on, I feel better that we at least have a few guys to choose from, and we at least know that Crowder comes off the bench when he was a starter in Boston. All right, so he can at least contribute to some degree. So
give me a Croatian guy any day of the week, because you know what, I never heard of the guy when I looked at the trade, but I said, oh, he sounds like he's Croatian, which I am, so of course I'm partial. And then I kind of read up on him, and they're like, it's the greatest part of the trade that you've never heard of, and here's what he's capable of. And hell yeah, you're gonna want a feisty little fighter kind of guy on your side all the time. Who knows what he's capable of? And if you unleash somebody like that, maybe he's gonna surprise you. I'm kind of excited about it.
Ante Zizic. I was looking forward to the big thing, Tony, the big event, which and the big event is that battle between Zizic and Eddie Tavares.
Eddie Tavares, that's going to happen after LeBron James goes to LA next year. But
oh my God,
Christ,
Ante Zizic, and you know that Tommy Heinsohn right now is like, give me the lighter fluid. I'm gonna blow up Isaiah Thomas's jersey, and you want to know why? He was never a Celtic. And do you want to know why he wasn't a Celtic, Tony?
Because he was black.
He wasn't white enough.
That's exactly.
Tommy point. He wasn't white enough.
I got a brownie point. Gordon Hayward. There's a guy. There's a guy right there who, in my opinion, is the embodiment of a Boston Celtic.
We got Kyrie Irving now. He may be black, but he's from Australia, so it doesn't really mean that he's black.
Girls. Kyrie likes white girls too. He'll fit in really good there.
The other thing is Kyrie looks good in green. That's something that,
Gerald Green. Oh, wait, wrong Green.
Gerald Green. Walter McCarty. I'm just waiting for Tommy Heinsohn to go into complete dementia. So he just starts spewing out the names of all the shit fuck players that he praised for the Celtics all those years who are no longer with the team and who may be dead for all we know. I just want that would be
what
great.
A dunk by Mel Counts.
Mel Counts.
Mel's been dead for 30 years.
Mel Counts was a Laker. He wasn't a Celtic.
Oh.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, but I mean,
old white guy.
No, I can tell you about Bailey Howell. There's a white guy for you. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's the guy that's on the Celtics radio broadcast? He's got the funky nickname.
I don't even know because I hate Boston.
Tommy Heinsohn loves him too.
That I thought you made up Tommy Heinsohn until I actually heard him on TV, and I went, "Oh my God, you sounds
he's legit
like him." And you sound just like him, all angry and racist. And
the angrier, the better. It's like, get me the lighter fluid. All right, we're up in smoke. Let me tell you something. If I had a hood, I'd cut out little eye holes for myself. And I wouldn't be burning a jersey. It would be a cross on his yard. Welcome to Boston,
welcome
motherfucker.
to Boston, Kyrie. The tea is on fire as he looks out into his front yard.
Old Isaiah Thomas has to be brain-addled. I mean, saying to a black guy, you don't have to play in Boston anymore. Woo-hoo! Woo! I mean, what in the hell? Why would Isaiah be upset about being traded from the most racist city in America? I mean, and it's brutally so.
Right.
I mean, it's, every black star that they've had, and it doesn't surprise me that they burn his jersey because they've done that. Look what they did to Mo Vaughn,
Oh, yeah.
Who gave his career for that organization,
Jersey burning is like a tradition of no other with sports fans nowadays. I don't understand it.
It's because everybody's unoriginal. Their copycats piss on them.
Yeah, and and the other thing is, you watch, the day will come when Gordon Hayward's no longer a Celtic, and they're not going to burn his jersey, And you know what I want to do? I want to burn Red Auerbach's in an effigy. You got a big fat head, of Red Auerbach, with this big fucking smelly cigar, and just burn that in effigy, and let a bunch of black fans do it in Boston. That's what I would like. I'd like to see every black fan of the Boston Celtics burn Red Auerbach in effigy just to get back at these assholes. God almighty. And I'm Al Pulowski, and I'm not bitter. Yeah.
No, of course you're not. How do you like your little studio?
Oh, shut up. I just want one time. It's like, and I'm Jensen Lewis. Shut up.
Hey, Al, who's the pitcher with the most wins on the Cleveland Indians right now?
That would be Trevor Bauer. And you know something? If they let me on the field, he'd probably have 2 more wins because Bauer gets frustrated with Underwood. I know he does. He does. As I shut up.
That's why I talk to him and I calm him down telepathically. Yeah, I wear his shirt and he knows it.
Al Pulowski, why is
Trevor Bauer's a good Republican, man. I like him.
He has no modulation in his voice.
Not a lot to like him. Oh, I hate him. Oh, don't even get me started now. Now I'm getting angry. Talk about Underwood enough, and it triggers me.
So while we have Tony the Calf in here, how much longer can the Twins hang in there?
I think they'll hang in there till the end of the month, and then, the thing is that they're not going to compete with Cleveland for the Central. Our goal is the wild card. We're just not good enough to stick with Cleveland in a race for the division. Although we're 4.5 back, and Cleveland seems to be, 1 week they're hot, 1 week they're ice cold, 1 week they're hot, But I just don't think we have the depth to catch Cleveland.
You know something?
Pitching. Bartolo Colon, I mean, what the? 44 years old.
Big,
sexy. Big, sexy guy.
Well, Al Pulowski wants to say something.
All fat kids everywhere.
Al Pulowski wants to say something to you, Tony. Is that okay?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
You look like a potato head with a beard. What the fuck is this? You look like a potato head. Where's the rest of your body, for God's sakes?
Hey, Al, you want to do that again? You just fucked it up right on fucking television.
Al Pulowski. I don't know.
Burt Blyleven.
I bet he can't even polka. I bet Al Pulowski can't even polka properly.
Yeah. So the Indians now, I was thrilled to see Andy Diaz finally get loose and start hitting the baseball. He should have been up with this team a long time ago. And can we please start him at third base, please? Let Urshela be the late inning defensive replacement. Let Andy Diaz man third base. Let Ramirez play second base. And let's not even bother waiting for Jason Kipnis anymore, because it's just once the year starts out this way, it ends this way. You know what I mean? Hold on a sec here.
Right.
Man, the program here. I have to turn this TV volume down. It just started up here. Hold on.
Huh. Well.
Tony, what's your fucking problem? No.
I don't have a problem with you at all.
Why do you unblock me every time we follow each other on Twitter like a little baby? Why do you have to act that way?
We haven't talked to each other in like 4 months.
Bothered, because you did it months ago, and I didn't know why, and I didn't even have the energy to care. But now you just pop in here, and I want to know why. What is your deal? Why do you do that? Why?
I get tired of your stupid opinion. I get tired of stupid opinions once in a while. Okay.
Trolling bullshit opinions gets tired of me. You're out of your fucking mind. I should block you just to block you. Just so I don't have to see your reply.
Block me then. I don't care.
Well, I'll tell you, this is what the show turns into when I'm gone.
I know. She fucking attacks. You leave and she attacks me. What the fuck?
Wiley had me blocked for a year because I said something about blowjobs or something, and he got all mad because it was unchristian-like. So
I'm still blocked by Wiley because I told Wiley that I'm gonna fuck his mom one night or something.
Oh no!
You know what? Ziffles even blocked me once. What is that?
I had to block Ziffles.
You guys have bad attitudes. You just let me love you. Just let me love you, okay? Don't take everything so personally.
Now,
No, I had to block Ziffles because I stated an opinion about a draft pick, and he called me a fat piece of shit. So I just said, out of nowhere, didn't talk to him beforehand, and just out of nowhere, you're a fat. What a shitty opinion, you fat fuck. And I'm like, bye.
So the Indians play the Royals tonight, and we can really put a dent in the Royals as we come back home to play.
Except they won't, because Ryan Merritt is pitching, and they blew all their offense last night, so it's going to be bad, and they're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Speaking of which, I have to get to baseball practice. Junior's got to be there in 10 minutes, so I have to go. I'm really, really sorry to cut it short.
No, it's okay. Who's pitching tonight for the Royals, by the way?
Oh, for the Royals? Shit. I know.
Shit? That would be about the Royals.
Dog.
Yeah.
Shit.
As long as it's not Fister.
It ain't Doug Fister. He just pitched.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fister is going to appear in our nightmares, you know? Every team he's going to appear. God, we're the only team he can be.
Facing Vargas. They're facing lefty Jason Vargas.
And Vargas is a good lefty, and he's an off-speed pitcher.
Nothing.
Junk pitches.
Tonight. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for baseball? Go get your hat. All right,
Michelle, we'll get out of here and take your son to the game.
Yell at me.
Hit a homer, Junior.
I got a ticket for yelling and saying bad words. He heard me, so now he's mad at me. All right, get out of here.
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes and a timeout. Remember when he was all tiny and would take a nap and not?
Yeah, I remember that.
All right,
He looks like a
fine
young boy. Fuck him. Okay, thanks a lot for playing.
guys, I'll see you Monday, right?
That's right. Yeah. We gotta do an after Brown show on.
Hey, is the Brown show or is the Browns game going to be on national TV, or do I have to?
No, I'm running it through my online service and just HDMI, onto my big screen. So yeah.
Yeah, the national TV this week is the Vikings and the Niners.
All right, so I'll probably watch it on Sunday on NFL, right?
On delay, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. I'll still be able to talk about it Monday. All right. You guys have a great weekend.
You too.
Everybody, I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. All right, Tony. Bye. So we have.
I thought she was going to say she got a ticket for prostitution. I'd be like, well, that escalated quickly.
No. Well, so the Indians, like I was saying, the Yandy Diaz. I'm glad he's playing, and I'm glad that Zimmer managed to get through the offer 34 that he went through, and he seems to be back to life again, which is good. I love the Austin Jackson. Ajax is having a great season right now. Ramirez looks tired. He's going to have to get his second win to help the team out. I'd like to see a little power surge from the Parrot Walker Encarnacion, so that we've got to hit some long balls against Kansas City, because that's what they do. Right. It's going to be a challenge still for the Indians, because for as long as the season's gone on, they're still only 5 games ahead. And that's right. And with all these head-to-heads, I mean, we screw up against the Royals, they'll be right up our ass again.
It's just so weird, because the last 2 nights, the Twins have been perfect chances to pull within 3 games, and we lose to the White Sox. The fucking White Sox.
The Twins all this year have had openings and opportunities, but they have let way too many of them slip through their hands. The Indians coming to Minnesota and them losing, that's what started that whole thing. And they're not good enough to get over. They're good enough to keep fighting back, but they're not good enough to get over the hurdle. And Kansas City is a team that here recently has been playing good baseball, and you've got to put your foot down on them if you're the Indians. And it's hard with Ryan Merritt. It's going to be difficult, because that first game of the series, if you win this first game and you push them to whatever 6.5 games out, it starts getting further and further from reality that they're going to catch you,
And now you don't have Kluber pitching in this series, I'm assuming. So
that's right. I mean, you've got to come up with something good from somebody, and so it's it'll be a challenge for the Indians. So
what was your big announcement? I've been fucking. My big announcement. Windows 10 for 2 more days.
not only is there a Moohead Radio Pick'em League, which you can join, but I'm going to be doing halftime and post-game shows for the Browns this year, which I suspended last year because there were 1-15, and they were hopeless. And I at least see signs that the defense is charged up in the preseason, and it'll be fun to do some halftime and post-game shows. So we'll give them.
So does that mean a halftimer for the dress rehearsal tomorrow night, or
I don't like to do nighttime programs just because it's first of all, there's no time to pre-promote the whole thing, and I got to go on some forums to tell people that we'll be doing this again. And with last year, the fact that we bailed on it, it's going to be a little hard to reconstruct, but we're trying to put together more of the Pick'em League, and we've got about, I think there was something somewhere in the vicinity of 19 people so far, and we've got to get more than that. So if
I do look forward to the return of week 8. I do look forward to the return of Moohead in the morning, because it's Vikings Browns in London at 7 a.m.
Oh no, is that right?
Yeah, week 8, it's Vikings and Browns. They play each other in London, and so it's like.
And what time is the game?
Kickoff's at like 7:15 Central in the morning.
And what is? I'm not in Central. What is it here?
So it would be about 8:15 Eastern.
Oh my God! All right,
yeah.
Well, you do what you got to do.
Moohead in the morning. We'll have to come up with some like jingle or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a shower so I don't have bedhead, on camera. All right, let me get out of here.
You don't watch the show in smell-o-vision?
Yeah, God. Let me get out of here and get this on the front page. And Tony, thank you for jumping in. I always appreciate that. And
good having you back.
Yeah, it's fun, and right. This is getting close now. We get the pennant run, the Indians. We get the Browns, and God only knows with the Cavaliers what's going to happen next. I really have a sick feeling about LeBron James, but we'll get into that another time.
Right. So, all right, Mo. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this edition of a live Moohead Radio podcast. Back again on Monday, and I'll have to check your Twitter for the exact time. I tend to think it's going to be 5 o'clock on Monday, so we can talk like a Browns post-game kind of situation to see how Kaiser does and how the Browns grade out by position after their game tomorrow. Thanks a lot for tuning in. By the way, don't even waste your time spending money on Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather Jr. That is a joke. It's a boxing historian. I mean, McGregor got knocked cold. He got taken out as far as submitted, but he was hit in the face so many times by a guy with his hands to the UFC. He could literally, if Floyd Mayweather really wanted to crack the whip, he could easily knock him out in the first round. Seriously. And with multiple punches, and it will be devastating. Don't waste your money on that. Just sit back and wait. Then you can watch it on replay, all 60 seconds of it. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Moohead Radio. Back again Monday. Until then, go Browns. Have a good weekend. And hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.